And welcome to the Super Terb Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Terbet, a.k.a. Super Terb, a.k.a. Coach Terb, and I'm your local real estate expert here in the Raleigh-Durham, or what we like to call the Triangle area, with the Ida Turbo Group, Coldwell Banker, HPW. And I can't believe I'm on episode 11. I started this podcast earlier this year. We're actually going back in even to last year to highlight real estate, local business, sports, and beer in the Triangle. And I'm having such a great time. I've had some great guests, and I can't be more excited about my guest today, who is actually a really good friend of mine. We go back, almost 20 years. He's the head baseball coach or manager of the Campbell University Fighting Camels. And I can't wait for you guys to meet Justin Haire, talk about his program. He's been the head coach now, I believe, going on 7 years, but he's been with Campbell longer than that, starting out as an assistant. They have won the Big South Conference Championship in 2018 and 2019. Obviously, COVID threw a curveball at all of us, so I'm just going to see what he is doing. So I can't wait to have him here on the Super Terb Podcast shortly. Quickly, my real estate tip this week, or just one topic, is what we're seeing in the market is multiple offers, because the inventory is so low and so many buyers, especially first-time buyers, or they have these great loan programs for little money down, are having a hard time winning. It's a disadvantage when you're in a multiple offer situation. Those sellers are reviewing offers, and they're looking at how much those buyers are potentially putting down. And if some buyers putting down 0%, 3%, 5%, which again are great loan programs, they can't compete with the additional money that this other buyers can put down. So they are typically losing out. I know agents that have written 5, 6 offers for the same buyer and not getting them. So what we have been doing is actually getting our clients in front of more new construction. Now, to do so, you may have to go a little further out. But perfect examples, we had one of our great buyer agents, Matt Little, help one of his clients just this weekend, and he's done this now several times, able to get a brand new home in Youngsville for under $300,000. And by doing so, you do not have to compete with multiple offers. The deposits are usually minimal, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, and you're able to get that home of your dreams and get into that house. So if you're all thinking about the buying process and maybe a little frustrated of where you are, reach out to us. We'd love to help you accomplish real estate goals. Myself or one of our great agents on our team will be able to take care of you and get you guys to the finish line by winning. So quickly, before I bring Justin on, we all know what this Sunday is. Super Bowl 55. It's hard to believe my Panthers were in there 5 years ago. I still have bad dreams about that day. But hot off the presses, I get the Super Terb football koozie, 100 of these, limited edition. I usually have an appreciation event at my friend's place, Strike and Barrel, which a couple weeks ago, I had Dave Carmichael on, owner of Strike and Barrel in Wake Forest. But since of COVID, we can't really have an appreciation event, but I still order koozies. And if you're interested, reach out to me. I'll be happy to get those out to you. And in saying that, if you don't have plans this Sunday, I'm going to tag my buddy Dave Carmichael, his wife Katie Carmichael, Strike and Barrel. It's a great venue. It's very safe. They're going to have capacity as far as what can come in, as far as many people they have. So make sure you call and make reservations. But it's a great family atmosphere, bowling, TVs, lots of cold beer and beverages. So you'll have a great time. If you're wanting to stay in, though, you need to reach out to my friends John and Tania Molite, owners of Manhattan Pizza. I know they have locations down Raleigh, 2 parts in Raleigh, and I believe they opened the other in Holly Springs. But I'll tag them as well. So they're going to have great specials for their Super Bowl Sunday. So if you want to reach out to them, that would be a great help to them. Remember, support local business, guys. All right, that's it for the opening segment. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to bring Justin on. I see him. He's micing up there in the background. And I'm going to bring him on. We're having a great chat. So I'll be right back. And Justin, you there, buddy?
Here I am.
All right. And welcome back to the Super Terb Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michael Terbet, a.k.a. Super Terb. And I can't be more excited to have my guest on today, Justin Haire, manager / head coach of the Campbell University Fighting Camels. I've known Justin since when? I don't know, 2002?
Yeah, 3, 4, somewhere in there. Too long ago to date ourselves with.
It's crazy. And what's interesting is we're like 45 minutes apart now. Before we get started, though, I want everybody to understand what's going on today. Can you give the indicator sign for the hit and run?
No, that's top secret information that I can only share with a select few people.
All right, I'll work on that. Maybe the bunt signal or something later, because when it's in games, I want to be involved. So, okay, so tell everybody, that's watching, who you are, where are you from, and tell them more about yourself if they're seeing you for the first time.
Yeah, sure. Justin Haire, head coach, Campbell University. This is my 7th year as head coach here at Campbell. Was the assistant here for 7 years. Before that was where I met big Super Terb coach Michael Terbet with a B, not a D, he told me, at Ouachita Baptist in Arkansas. So was the assistant there for 3 years. Started my coaching career in a small NAIA school in Kansas called Sterling College, really in the middle of the state. I grew up in Ohio, just outside of Cincinnati, big Cincinnati Reds fan. Played my college ball at Bowling Green State University for my first 2 years, and then University of Indianapolis, Division II school in Indiana, my last 2 years. Let's see. Married for 10 plus years now to my wife, Lindsay, who I met when I was working in Arkansas. We have 4 kids. We've got 3 boys and a little girl that's almost 3 months old. So it's wild and crazy at our house. And, we're just trying to figure it out day by day, man.
I hear you, man. So you played obviously in college. What led you to say, hey, I want to coach? What was the moment?
The moment was that I didn't want to go work as a customer service rep for Conseco Insurance, and which is the route that I was about to go. It was like December. It was December, January, kind of that winter period. It was the year after I got done playing, and I was at a basketball game actually at University of Indianapolis. And my head coach from there, Gary Vaught, was there, and we got to talking. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing right now?" And I was like, "Well, I'm about to take this job answering phones at Conseco Insurance, which is big insurance at the time, was big insurance company in Indianapolis, where the Pacers play. What used to be called Conseco Fieldhouse, it's now called Bankers Life or something." So, anyways, was getting ready to take a job, doing that. And he's like, "Well, hey, I've got one of my old assistants is a head coach at a small school in the middle of nowhere in Kansas. And his assistant just got a high school job. And so he's looking for a guy." Called me the other day, "Do you have any interest in doing that?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man." Like, never really thought about coaching before, but I wasn't really doing anything. Like I was still just trying to figure out, hey man, life after baseball. I hadn't finished my degree. I just thought, hey man, like, I'm going to probably flip houses and like be a millionaire in a year or two. And so, cause that's super easy to do, right? Like, you have no money, have no college degree, no construction background, but like on TV, like Flip This House was on and some of that. So I was like, if these people can do that, I definitely can do it. That's not going to be a problem. And I'll be rich here pretty soon. So that was really like my entire game plan, which obviously not a very good one. And so got the opportunity to go work for a guy named Scott Norwood at Sterling College in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. I called him a couple of times. He finally called me back on a Friday. We talked. He offered me the job. On Monday, I took the job, and on Wednesday, I packed up my Isuzu Trooper and my house in Indianapolis and drove through the night to make it to the first practice of the year in January at Sterling College in Sterling, Kansas.
That is awesome. And share everybody with that first job in Sterling, Kansas, how much you made.
I got to live in the dorms for free, and I think it was like $900 a month, which like looking back, like then it was like no big deal, man. Like we're baseball. It's baseball. I got my own dorm room, like 22, 23 years old, I guess, making about $900 a month. And I was like, that's not terrible. I didn't have a car payment. The first time I got a cell phone was when I moved to Sterling, Kansas. So I didn't even have a cell phone till I moved there. So I had that. And then that ended up being like the best paying job I had for the next 4 years. Cause then when I went to Ouachita, we moved from NAI to Division II, and I actually made less money. So it's
crazy.
The price you pay to do the things you love, I guess.
So what roles did you have on that first job? Obviously the challenges you faced. Did you have did you have your degree when you started? Did you have to have a master's, for example?
Right. Yes.
Master's degree.
Yeah, no. So like I said, I was from summer school because I transferred from Bowling Green to Indianapolis and changed my major. So I was like summer school and like a semester away from graduating at Indianapolis, of which I decided that at the time, like that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to, I went to play baseball and I didn't have a great plan. And so when I got the job at Sterling, I did not have my degree, which wasn't a big deal at the time. It wasn't a full-time job. I wasn't getting benefits or anything like that. So my role there was to be the pitching coach. I was a catcher in college and kind of just jumped in with the pitchers. I threw batting practice, just coach first base. It was just me and Coach Norwood. So it was kind of all hands on deck. We had 34, 35 guys on the team. Obviously we had to maintain our own field. I mean, it was a really interesting bunch, man. We had a bunch of good dudes. We were good. We went to a regional that year, set the school record at the time for wins. But like we had our right fielder. I was 23 years old. Our right fielder was 31. Ingalls Polanco was his name. He was from Pima Community College. We had a right-handed pitcher that was from Mexico that was also from Pima Community College, was 24 years old, had 3 kids back at home and a wife back at home in Mexico. And this dude's in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. So super interesting, and so was there for 6 months and won a conference championship, went to a regional. Coach Norwood got the job at Ouachita Baptist in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, which is where you and I hooked up. And, that summer and he just called me and said, "Hey man, like, here's the deal. Like, they're going to help you pay to finish your degree, your undergraduate degree, and you're going to make $3,000. I was like, whoa, I'm going to make $3,000 a month and they're going to pay for my degree. And he's like, no, man, like they're going to help pay for your degree. They're going to give you 6 hours a semester. And they're going to pay you $3,000 a year. And so I was
Good
like,
money,
oh,
baby.
I was like, oh, great, man. Like this is, but it was a no brainer. I was like, yeah, well, I'm in. I'll be there in a couple of weeks, man. Like, let's roll. So,
well, it's similar to me. I went to Ouachita. I think they paid for my master's. I want to say I made $2,500 a semester. Leslie and I were living in a duplex. It was about 700 square feet, $375 a month in rent. The floors weren't even level. It doesn't even exist anymore. I saw on Google Earth, like it's gone. So I mean,
really,
yeah.
Your place was way nicer than mine.
I know we got lucky there, and we found. And it's funny you talk about your right fielder because I don't remember Rod Edwards or not. I don't know if you were there my first year. I was there in 02. Rod, I was 22, and Rod was 26 because we got him on a 2-year non-participation. He was all region, all conference, great player. But it was funny for me being younger, But at the same time, the guys appreciate and understand hard work. And if you put in the time, and they're always watching, and there was respect there,
Yeah.
They know they really are keen on who cares for them and what they're doing. So okay, so now you're at Ouachita. What took you to Campbell?
Yeah, so we rolled into Ouachita, and that program the year I think before we got there and our first season was 05. So we moved there in 04, summer of 04. We moved there in the spring of 04. They were 9-45, and so we were taking over a not very successful program, but had some things. We're in the South. There's a lot of things to sell. It's a nice little school and it's a good little spot. And, we were able to kind of get that program turned around. The third year that we were there, 2007, we eventually got to #1 in the country. We were 50-10 that year, hosted a regional. We had never won a conference tournament championship. We'd never even been to the conference tournament. And here we were hosting our first ever regional, ranked in the top 3 or 4 in the country. So really, worked hard to get that program turned around. And so the Campbell job was similar at the Division I level, though. So in 2007, while we're busy going 50-10 at Ouachita, Campbell was 11-45 at the Division I level. And a guy that was in our league at the time, at University of Montevallo, a guy named Greg Goff, got the Campbell head coaching job. And we had known each other just from playing against each other, talking scouting reports and so on and so forth, and it built a relationship. And he called me, I'll never forget, July 3rd, 2007. I was umpiring a tournament in Hot Springs, Arkansas, just trying to make some cash in the summer. And with a guy named Brian Jones, and he left a message on my phone and asked me, hey man, I want to talk to you about this job out here at Campbell. If you want to give me a call back, and call back. And, I think probably 8 or 10 other guys maybe turned down the job. And so he was scraping the bottom of the barrel by calling me, but, called me and we talked about the job and talked about potentially coming out here to work. And, that ended up working out and moved out here in August of 2007 and started another rebuild. And
you were there. What role were you there? And obviously an assistant, but did you have a specific role when you first got there?
Yeah. So 26 years old. I'd been coaching for 4 years and came here, was, technically the recruiting coordinator, and basically helped run the offense and headed up all of our recruiting. Eventually moved into associate head coach role in, I guess that was maybe 2013. After the 2013 season, we went 49-10 and 20-13 and was named associate head coach, going into the 2014 season. We went 41-21, won the Big South Conference tournament, went to our first regional in 24 years, went to Columbia, South Carolina, down at University of South Carolina with us, Old Dominion, and Maryland in the 2014 regional.
And then Coach Goff, correct?
Yeah.
And he had an opportunity to move on or had a coach opportunity.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
So after that regional, he went to he took over at Louisiana Tech.
Okay.
Down in Ruston.
And you had the opportunity to become the head coach there at Campbell.
Yep. Yeah.
Did you have opportunities prior to that year to get a head coaching job somewhere?
No, not in a head coaching role. I had a couple of opportunities in 2012. Was the first year that we won 40 games in school history. We went 41-19 or 41-18. Kind of got it spun around. Had an opportunity to take an assistant's job at an in-state school. Was at another mid-major, but kind of at the time was a mid-major that had a lot of respect, and it's a very good school. And was going to go work for a guy or potentially work for a guy that I had a lot of respect for. And it just, the timing just didn't work out. They came back to me and asked me to stay here, made it a little bit better for me and my wife to be able to stay. And so I was like, hey man, we'll roll again. Like, no problem. And then in 2013, we had, the best year in school history, back-to-back 40-win seasons. And and my wife and I had our first kid in July that summer after that year. And literally the day that we got home from the hospital, I get a phone call, just random phone call. And it's Rick Heller at the University of Iowa. And he calls me up and he says, "Hey, can I speak with Justin?" "Yeah, this is him." "Hey, Brian Smiley," which is a friend of mine who is Rick's assistant, isn't going to stay with me at Iowa. He's going back to Indiana State. He gave me your name and said you would be the best guy to hire for my recruiting coordinator job here at Iowa. Are you interested in the job? I've never talked to this guy before in my life. Rick's an awesome guy, awesome coach, really good track record, super nice guy, opportunity to go to a Big Ten school, and kind of jump into the Power Five and some of that stuff. But literally could not have been worse timing with our first kid and stuff like that. So a couple of opportunities that presented themselves from assistant roles where I could have made some different moves. But every time Campbell came back, made it really, really hard for me to want to leave because it's such a special place. And then, in all honesty, Terb, the Lord works in mysterious ways, man. And timing, good timing or bad timing, timing's kind of everything. And he wanted me to stay here. I believe that. I don't believe that anything happens by accident. And so, had the opportunity to stay and in the summer of 14, become the head coach here.
Well, and it's funny you say that because I was just about to say everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
There's always something bigger at play. And which leads me to my next question. And because you had opportunities to move, just like one of the reasons I got out was moving the multiple moves that would have been necessary. And I wasn't ready to do that and value of life. Granted, I was like, I'll go sell real estate. It's just so easy. And of course, that's an eye opener there. And it was going right into the worst financial crisis since 1929. We battled through adversity. But in saying all that, why was Campbell the right fit for you and your family? Why did you stay? Anybody can make a deal a little bit sweeter.
Sure.
But there's obviously outside reasons for you to say this is where I want to anchor and hopefully raise my family at.
Yeah. And I think that what you experienced in terms of really having some gut check, moments with yourself, looking yourself in the mirror, hey, is this what I really want to do? Is this, do I really want to sacrifice, whether that's moving, whether that's staying, whether that's not getting paid well, whether that's, working 100 hours a week for, any number of weeks over the course of a year, getting phone calls on Christmas Day saying hey, so-and-so is ineligible unless you can get this in or get that in or do this or do that. I mean, it's, the stories that we could write is, they're unbelievable if you've never lived them. And so, I distinctly remember calling you even at some point and just saying just really struggling with what the coaching lifestyle with a young wife and wanting to start a family was going to be like, hey, Terb, why did you leave? Why did you get out of coaching and move back to North Carolina and go to work, in the family business? My dad was running his own family business back in Ohio. And I remember calling you and being like, hey man, I don't know. I don't know if I can keep doing this. It's a grind, and
I remember that phone call.
It's because it is it's a grind, and it's not for everybody, and it's not, and that's neither here nor there. But there are some gut check moments. And so obviously with other opportunities popping up and getting the chance and interviewing for other jobs and stuff, it just never felt right. It just never felt man, this, I want to go do this same thing that we've worked our tails off to create here. I want to now to go take this and go do this somewhere else. That was never really felt right. And then, becoming the head coach and facing our fair share of adversity through that. The greatest thing about this place is that every step along the way, if we dreamed it, if we thought hey man, like we want to build, we want to build a 7,000 square foot field house for our locker room and, coaches' offices and all this stuff that's overlooking the field. We want to get turf. We want to get the biggest video board in the state of North Carolina. Like you just go down the checklist of things and like we were able to accomplish each one of those things. There was never a thought or an idea or a vision that we had for the future of our program that was ever too big, right? Like we were never locked in like, that's just too much for here, man. Like it was always like, yeah, I think we can do that. Like, let's figure it out. Let's figure out how we're going to get there now, with hard work and planning and all that stuff. But it was never like, nah, man, that's too pie in the sky for Campbell. It was like, nah, let's make this the best place that we possibly can for everybody that comes through. And this, Terb, as well as anybody in business and athletics, like that doesn't happen everywhere. Like you don't get the opportunity to really take a blank sheet of paper, write out your biggest dreams, and then somebody say, yeah, man, go to work and make it happen. And if you do, like, great. Like,
I mean, that's huge to have that support and the leadership up top that sees the same vision that you have. I mean, there's some professional franchises in sports that don't even have that, the ability, to that have winning at the forefront of their programs. So when you became the head coach, what was something in particular where, okay, I'm the head coach now. What was a footprint you wanted to put your footprint on? Anything you wanted to establish, with regards to your philosophy and beliefs. So when you call a kid, or you're in a family room, hopefully post-COVID, non-Zoom, what's your philosophy? What is your beliefs when they come to Campbell? Like what separates you guys?
Yeah, well, I think that a couple of things. Number one is that we genuinely care for our players. There's transactions in life, right? And there's a business side to every relationship. To a certain extent, there's a business side of it in college athletics. That's certainly true as well. When you're dealing with dollars and cents and cost of tuition and scholarships and all that stuff, there are business aspects of that. But we don't want to run our program like a business where, hey, Terb, you come play for us. And you know what, man, like you hit 210 this year. And so I'm going to drop your scholarship, or I'm going to cut you, or you know what, like you didn't earn that 50% scholarship. So now I'm going to put you down to 25%. Like the biggest thing for us is that we love our guys. Like we genuinely care about our players. And we want them to be successful, whether that's here or whether that's after they leave here and graduate or go into pro ball. And so we really want to build that relationship and just get them to understand that this is a family and just like any other family, just like with my family, just like with my kids and wife now, that doesn't mean that we always like each other, right? Like I'm going to love our guys unconditionally. I love them. Their job is not to love me. Their job is to respect the job that I have to do. But their job is to love each other. And so that's like number one. And then number two is like, this place isn't for everybody, right? Like we're 35 miles from downtown Raleigh, 35 miles from downtown Fayetteville, literally right in between two fairly large cities in the state of North Carolina. A lot of great resources around us, but we're in the middle of tobacco fields and cotton fields, like you would think that you're a million miles away from Raleigh at a certain, to a certain extent. And that's not for everybody. Right. And so like, I think the uniqueness, I think when I first got here as recruiting coordinator, it was like, hey, this is an all-inclusive place, man. Like everybody could come here. We're right outside of Raleigh. Like, this is great. Like big city. Like we're not big city. We're not bright lights, man. Like we're grinders, blue collar, like show up because you love baseball and you want to find out how good of a player and a person you can be. And if you don't want to get pushed out of your comfort zone, don't come here. Like, cause it's going to be hard and it's going to be challenging. And we're going to embrace the adversity of everything that we have to go through because we know that that's going to make us better players and better people and hopefully better men and better leaders when we leave here.
And I could be the first to say, obviously I'm not around you guys firsthand, but just knowing you and seeing, following you guys, both from afar, but I can literally say that you not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk. And I know even once your guys leave Campbell, whether that's professionally or in the business world, I know you still have a very good handle, or you follow them and are there to support them. And so for many people that don't know coaching, like we do, obviously, you have probably a very awesome staff that helps you as assistants, that aren't on the front page. But when you, and you probably have some turnover, because obviously with winning comes opportunity. Mm-hmm. So when you look to hire that next assistant, what qualities do you look for? And then one thing that I wanted to say about my former boss, Coach Schaaf, who hopefully is listening and he learned how to get on Facebook Live. I think Damon may be helping him currently right now.
Yeah. Coach Francis might have hooked him up. So,
but I also talk about this with our agents on our team, and when we were out, and other coaches would come to Coach Schaaf and say, "How do you find an assistant that's committed and loyal?" And one thing he said that stuck with me is he created ownership of the program. Obviously he was the boss, but he allowed his staff to have ownership and have creativity. And I wanted to see if that was something that you do with your staff members to get the 100% out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that getting buy-in across the board, staff is a huge piece of that. When you have turnover, when you have positions, I mean, look, we've had, after 2018, one of our assistants, Jake Wells, is now at Louisiana Lafayette, left for a six-figure salary somewhere else. And then after 2019, Chris Marks, who played for me at Ouachita, one of my closest friends in all of baseball, had been with me here since the beginning. Got an opportunity to take a Power 5 pitching coach job. And so, we've had some turnover. I think the biggest, a big piece of that is finding guys that want to put skin in the game, and creating opportunity for them to have a voice, have an opinion, not get dictated to. Doesn't mean that they get their way or I always get my way. We're trying to find the best way, Yep. and if we have guys that are committed to learning and communicating, and working their tails off, gosh dang, you can accomplish a lot of things if you've got some humility about you and you're willing to put some skin in the game and you're willing to lay it on the line for your program, whether that's as a staff or a player. And we work really hard to give some of that ownership, just inherently, hey, listen, this isn't my program. This isn't Justin Haire's program. Campbell baseball's been here a long time before me. It's going to be here a long time after me. Our job is to leave this program, whether we're here for 1 day, 10 days, 10 years, 100 years, is to leave it a lot better than how we found it. And the only way that you can do that is to actually take ownership and care about everything that goes on in a program or in a business or whatever. And so when we go about hiring people, it's really important to identify people that have a great work ethic, people that can communicate and want to communicate. That's really important. And I think that's a missed piece in where people look on the hiring side. People put a lot of stock in experience. And I think that there's something to be said for experience, but I think that people that want to learn, people that want to communicate, people that have a high level of work ethic, and people that have a positive daily outlook can bring so much more mileage over someone that just has experience or that has been around. I'll take talent and enthusiasm over experience any day of the week.
No, I think you're exactly right. I think they need to be hungry. They have to have a thick skin, and I learned that real fast. But
not around Coach Schaaf. There's no shot that you learn that around Coach Schaaf.
Not at all. I learned real fast. He was definitely a high D personality, but Coach Schaaf made it where he didn't want to lose. Put it that way. But he was awesome at what he did. But I think you're exactly right. I came in, and granted, it's a long time ago, but at the same time, it still applies. I came in And I had a decision early on to make. I remember a meeting I had with Coach Schaaf, and after threatening to send me back to Raleigh or Charlotte, where the light bulb came on, and it's a matter of doing just getting out there and be hungry, working hard. If you made a mistake, don't repeat it. But as you mentioned, Coach didn't want a yes man either. Like he would almost fight me to say, no, tell me what you think. How can we win Thursday? So that's key. And so I just wanted to kind of get what your thought process was there. What was your best moment in coaching?
My best moment in coaching. I mean, we've been fortunate, I think, to have a lot of those, because we've had some success on the diamond. Man, my first college win, 2015, my dad threw out the first pitch. It was at home against a guy named Todd Asalon, who's the head coach at Northern Kentucky, who I've known for a long time. That was a great,
real fast. Did your dad bounce it or did he get it?
No, strike. Yeah, nice. I think. I mean, if not, I believe that he did. So, so that was awesome. 2019, when we won the conference championship, we played at the new Pro Park in Fayetteville, which was like 40 minutes from here. We were the number 1 seed. Came back in the championship game. Mom and dad were there. And that was my mom ended up passing away. That was in May. My mom passed away in October. That was the last game that she got the opportunity to see me coach. Got a chance to see us win a championship and dogpile and do some really neat things. And, so like that's, in the moment, yeah, it's great to win championships, man. It's great to dogpile, and it's great to, enjoy that time with your team and your family and all those things. In retrospect, and you look back, and see some pictures of getting a chance to hug my mom after the game, like pretty great moment.
Yeah, man. It's great what sports can do. But before you and I jumped on live, we were talking about something else, that you're also touching young men that, to be able to see them pass that grade or get that degree also, I know plays a huge role in what you're in position to do. You're helping them get to that next level of life, which, all sports does. So I know that was kind of a loaded question. That's awesome. So March of 2020 hit and hit all of us. And I know that was really, your season starts, I believe, in February. Here, it's coming up soon for you guys.
Yeah, 17 days.
Yeah, and so, again, adversity hits you right in the face. How did you handle that with your team, your guys, keep them motivated, not only in the classroom, but getting better on the field? I'm sure you have a lot of guidelines and protocol you have to follow. So if you want to touch on that briefly, I know that could be a long-winded answer, but how have you battled through COVID and keep the eyes on the prize?
Yeah, I think that when we were on the bus, we played March 11th, a Wednesday night at home against Old Dominion. Had like 2 rain delays, ended up being kind of a long game. We ended up winning. The next day we're leaving, March 12th. We're leaving. It's a Thursday. We're leaving to head down to Charleston Southern to play our first conference weekend. We're 16 games into the year, and we're on the bus. And my athletic director calls me, and we're like 20 minutes away from Charleston. And he's like, "Hey, man, we're delayed for this weekend, and we're seeing tweets about the College World Series being canceled, and and so, man, it was tough, man, like standing up in front of our guys, really no real information in terms of what that was going to be. Only like a pretty bad feeling in your stomach, like that, hey, man, the year's over. And I don't know what that means. We've got 14 seniors on the team at the time. And man, I don't know what that means for those guys. I don't know what it means for our staff. You just don't know. So it was pretty emotional standing up in front of those guys and just trying to explain that to them. I think the flip side of that was we talk about in our program a bunch. We talk about that adversity is going to happen. Like, it's a stone cold guarantee. Like, life's not easy. It's never, no one ever said that it was going to be easy. In fact, it's a truth that like life's going to be challenging, right? Like, we're going to face adversity and we can't always control that adversity, but like our response to that adversity is what we can control and what we can, use to help influence the outcome of things. And so, so I really leaned on that. I really leaned on the fact that that's part of our culture in our building, is that like, hey, adversity is going to strike, man. Like, whether that's just a bad umpire behind the plate or a rainy day, or, in this case, it's COVID-19 and we don't know all of the ins and outs of that. Like, but hey, man, like, it's going to change our lives, at least in the moment, for the very near future. And so, hey, man, like, nothing we can do about it. We can't change that. But like, the way we respond and the way we take care of our business, we're uniquely prepared to handle whatever adversity rolls our way. And so just trying to give them some confidence, in the midst of that, I think was really important. And then just as we get ready to kind of ramp back up and come back to school, and now hopefully starting a season, is just like holding on to the belief that like the best is yet to come. Like, the better days, like for every one of us, if it's up to us, are still in front of us, right? Like, we've had some great days. I've had personally great days. Our program's had great days. Michael Terbet, you've had great days. Like, but if it's up to you and you can influence the outcome of anything in the future, like, then your best days should still be ahead of you. And so I think like really leaning on that and preaching that to our guys and showing them how we can navigate some of these challenges to better days out in front of us have been really important to, just trying to keep that positive mental outlook in some what can be pretty dark days.
Yeah, no, and they've got the right guy at the job, man. They're the head of the, I know you're leading them. I know it's frustrating. Are you going to have to play with masks on?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll have one on, basically if I walk out of my, players
on the field.
Yeah. They'll have them on. Some, they'll pull them up, pull them down, it'll be kind of on and off or whatever. But, our guys, I mean, they wear them at practice every day and
get used to it.
Yeah. We're just, again, like, is it convenient? No. Is it something that you want to do? No. Do I want to play? Yes. Like, I'll be 40 feet away from somebody throwing BP and I've got my mask on. Like, I think it's just one of those things that you say, you know what, like, if this is the inconvenience that I've got to have to do what I love to do and to have the opportunities to maybe get back out on the field, like, then so be it. Like, I'll take it. It's a whole lot better than standing up crying in front of our guys on March 12th of 2020, like not having any answers for the 35 pairs of eyes that are staring back at me, looking at me for answers and knowing that I don't have any. I'll take wearing a mask over that day, over having that day again, 100 out of 100 times.
I'm just wondering because, like, high school basketball here, I believe they're wearing masks. And you watch college basketball, they're not masks. So I just didn't know what the rules were going to be.
Yeah, it's just, because the testing protocols are going to be so all over the map. With us being an outdoor sport, that certainly helps, because it's way less, from what they say, likely to spread on the baseball field than it is in a gym or any of that, I think. So again, not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. So my athletic trainer tells me that I need to wear a mask to be around our guys. And I say, yes, ma'am. And, go about our business. And I tell our guys, like, hey, if you've got to wear a mask to get it done, like, let's get it done and let's go win another championship. And if the pictures all have masks on, you know what, like, that'll be a story that we can tell our kids some other time.
No question. All right. So I only have a few questions left. Then hopefully you'll stay on for my last segment because I'm going to feature the local beer of the week.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I should be. If I was there, we could just taste test it or something.
I know I have till Thursday though. I went 30-day no alcohol, so I'm almost there. That's why I'm just drinking Monster right now. So, where do you see Campbell?
The beer's probably better for you actually than that, but
Probably Guinness is calling my name. So, I just know I needed it at the time coming back from Disney. So,
I guarantee.
So, where do you see Campbell University fighting camels in 5 years? I know you're year to year, but what's your vision?
Consistent contender for Omaha, where the College World Series is. You know, we were in 2019. We went to the Greenville Regional, won the first 2 games, went through the winners bracket to the finals. Had to get beat twice. East Carolina, really good program, beat us twice on their home field. We're 3 wins away from Omaha in 2019, and so. You know, having a vision for, of course, you're year to year at this point in today's day and age, we're day to day, right? Like, you know, we are experienced like getting the worst phone call, you know, in terms of college athletics that we've ever gotten. So you're day to day, but, you know, I think if you don't plan for the future, you're going to fail, right? Like there's no way that you can achieve something that you can't see in your mind's eye anyway. Being one of the best mid-major programs in the country and being in the mix to make it to Omaha year in and year out.
Got it. So anybody watching this, listening to this, what advice would you give them if they're wanting to get into coaching?
Just know what you're getting yourself into. You know, it's, you know, just like any other profession, you know, and Terb, I know when you were a coach, I'm sure that this was true. And now that you're kind of, you know, you're doing your deal and you're very active on social and, what you do can look like pretty sexy, right? Like it can look like it's a lot of fun and like, hey man, you get to play baseball. You know, Terb's going on trips. He took his family to Disney. You know, he's doing all these cool videos and selling houses, man. Like that's awesome. Like, man, like I just want to do that. Like, man, there's, you know, there's a million hours that go into, you know, the 3 hours that you get a chance to, you know, to win a championship game. You know, there's a million offers that you have to write that goes into to getting an offer accepted for one of your buyers. Like there's just a ton of behind the scenes that's not sexy, that's not fun, like that's not appetizing to a lot of people, you know. And so I think that if you want to get into coaching, like get in for the right reasons, you know, get in for the relationships, get in for because you love the game and you want to learn more about it and you want to give more back to the game, whatever your sport is or whatever it is that you're passionate about. Get in for the relationships. Like don't get in for the money. Don't get in because, you know, so-and-so, you know, college football coach makes $9 million a year and you want to be that guy that makes $9 million a year. Like that ain't going to happen. Right. Like, I mean, the 1% of the 1% makes that. Like, just know what you're getting yourself into and why you're getting yourself into it. And then I think pursue it with every bit of passion that you possibly can. And at the end of the day, you're probably going to be in the right spot.
No, you hit it right on the head, man. It's kind of like when I coached as well as, you know, people just showed up. You thought what you did on that 2 hours on the floor. They didn't see all the study halls, the weights, the off-season, the hours in the car, recruiting. Yeah. So just like here in real estate, you know, people think we drive around, show houses, go to closings. So much
buy nice suits and look good on Instagram.
That's and yeah, that's only a little bit of that. So that's cool. All right, last question. And I like this one a lot because I like all the answers I've been getting since I've started the podcast. But what is the best advice you've been given and by who?
Man, that is a good question.
And I always get the same answer right there.
Yeah. The best advice I've been given and by who? Man. I don't know. I mean, I think that, I think that the best advice that I've been given is probably from my dad, probably echoes just a lifetime of being around my dad, is that good things happen to good people, you know, and 2 pieces, like good things happen to good people. And the more you give, the more you get, So be a good person and be generous with your time and your treasures and your talents. And, typically if you're a pretty good person, you put good things out into the world, doesn't guarantee it's going to come back to you, but you're going to be a whole lot happier because you're generous with your time and your talents and your treasures. And you're lifting people up. And, my dad used to say that to us. I'm one of 6 kids. He used to say that to us all the time. Good things happen to good people. And, the more you give, the more you get. And so, I think just having a good heart and being generous with the things that you have to offer, and everybody's got something to offer. Not everybody has a fat wallet. I'm certainly not one of those people. I got 4 kids. I'm definitely don't have a very fat wallet, but that's not really all of it. It's actually not hardly any of it, right? Because we all got something to give. And I think that if we're generous with those and we do good things for other people, like good things do happen to good people.
You hit it on the head. I listen to daily podcasts or motivational apps. I have a great motivational app. And I heard someone yesterday say the graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth. Can't take it with you, brother.
No, you can't.
I try to live every day to the fullest, much like you. And you kind of hit that. So that's a great answer. So before, we finish this segment, let everybody know, obviously I'll tag the baseball team and your program, but just let everybody know how to follow the Camels. Maybe touch on the season real quick, but just where they want to find you, tell them where they can do that.
Yeah. So on me personally on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at jhaire03, JHAIRE03, and then at Go Camels BSB on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I think maybe we even have a TikTok, which I have not been featured on, which is kind of, Terb's seen my dance moves, so I know that if they had any old videos of us in Hot Springs when we were assistants at Ouachita, we probably would have, TikTok would have been way bigger if they had videos of.
It would have been, and at the same time, glad we didn't have it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, neither of us would have a job. So
that's awesome. And because I just thought of something, and if I get these made, I can get them to you. I can get Super Terb socks that pull up to the sleeve things. That's still one of the best stories ever. It works. Michael
Terbet with the best baseball invention of all time: wristbands that unfold into sliding rash guards. I'm telling you, you wanted to know what it's going to look like in the next 5 years. Me and you on Shark Tank, presenting that to Mark Cuban and company.
Anybody likes to slide at first, man, you got to be protected from
100%.
And then once I had the old tube socks, and it looked cool too. I did my thing.
What are you talking? Like half the guys in the NFL that play on turf wear that stuff every weekend. Like we could have crossover.
I was head of the game, man, but we just need
way
to
ahead of the game.
Well, brother, man, thanks for coming on the Super Terb Podcast. This has been fun. I know you and I could talk for another 2 hours, easy.
No.
But I really appreciate it. And guys, again, Justin Haire, head baseball coach, Campbell University. If you're playing ball right now, you have kids playing ball, you're looking for that next level, you're looking for the right program for them, I highly encourage you to look into Campbell University. You're going to be going to have your son go into a great program where they're going to be taught life moments, not only on the field, but off the field, brother. So I wish you the best of success this year. Stay healthy, stay safe, and hopefully you're going to be doing that. Was it dog pile again soon?
Yeah, that's right.
We'll be down for a game. So everyone stay tuned. I'll be right back for my last segment. Coach Haire is going to stay on with me, and we're going to feature that local beer of the week. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Super Terb Podcast. Again, I'm your local host, Michael Terbet, a.k.a. Super Terb, a.k.a. Coach Terb. I still have Coach Haire with me here on the mic, as well as on screen here on YouTube and Facebook. And as you know, I like to feature a local beer of the week. We have so many great breweries in the area that I like to partake in. But again, over the last few weeks, I haven't really been featuring a local beer because I like to taste them while I do my broadcast. And since I'm on the no alcohol diet till Thursday, I'm now going to feature another great location. You guys have heard me talk about this location, and I know, Coach, I don't know if you've been by this, but if you're on the recruiting trail or you find yourself in North Raleigh, you need to stop by and say hello to my great friends at the Taylor's Wine Shop in Six Forks Road. I've mentioned them several times on the Super Terb podcast, but I wanted to feature them again. Taylor's goes way back. I mean, they've opened their doors 1980. I remember them as the variety pickup because they were located literally, and still are obviously, right across the street where I grew up. And a small tidbit or secret, I was not allowed to cross the street to go see them. It was a 2-lane road. Kids made fun of me. I had to stay at my side. But back in the day, you could rent VHS movies and things like that. But they've really evolved. It's a great, they renovated their place not too long ago. Obviously, it's a great place for gas and items, but they have great wine, great craft beer, local beer. They're so friendly. They're there to help. I know pre-COVID and looking forward to post-COVID, they have wine tasting, beer tasting. They have events. So go check them out. If you go, tell them Terb sent you, and you will not be disappointed. So again, local beer of the week / location of the week, Taylor's Wine Shop. So Coach Haire, you're the man. I appreciate you coming on. Good luck. Man. And everybody, again, it's Michael Terbet, your local real estate expert, the Ida Turbo Group, Coldwell Banker HPW, signing off again, Super Terb. And as always, remember, who you work with matters. Have a great week. I'll see you next week.